But once we met each other, we was like, oh,
Yeah.
like the magnetism was there.
Yeah. That's why we're
Find
here
those
today.
people. Find those people. It may not be in your house. It may not be your parents, but find those people. And hopefully those people are leading magnetism into positive, because there's negative magnetism as well, right?
Yeah.
But find those people that you are on the same wavelength, that challenge you, that push you, someone that you can look up to and they can look up to you. And you can kind of have this push and pull. The faster you find those people in your inner circle, the bigger you could explode in the long run.
Wow. Now what? I even have it where I have now what question mark exclamation point. I don't know why, but I just have those two question mark exclamation point because it's a question, but I also see it as sort of a statement. I think it's a big action moment.
It'll be interesting once you get to an editor, see how they feel about that.
I am here today with S.A. Grant. We are in Utrecht, and we have had quite a day already. And I am happy to say that we have made quite the decision to have completely taken over this entire lounge, and it's basically ours.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Dutch. I mean, it is just,
It is.
Without remorse. So
Yeah. So, S.A. Grant with me today, and we are talking about now what? The big question with an exclamation point. And I have a soft spot in my heart for now what when it comes to international moves. And that's how you and I know each other. We're here in the Netherlands. We're both American born, and you have recently, well, compared to me, recently moved here. And I would like to, one reason this whole now what topic comes about is, again, we talked earlier about villains and heroes and guides, and I like to be a guide to help people make a big move and have that now what decision and help them with the decision making.
Yep.
And there are tiny little ones and there's big ones. Like today we're talking about a big one, moving from the US to here. It's a biggie. But as maybe we'll get into, because as I know a little bit more of your story, that it's possibly other decisions or events that happened that turned that story into how did the story come about? It's not usually just a simple, oh, we woke up one day and we decided to move to the Netherlands. So, S.A. Grant, it is great having you here. And I'm really glad you moved here, by the way, because it's been great getting to know you a little bit more. And could you give us a little bit of background on you were in the States, to put it super simply, you were in the States and now you're here.
Yeah, to do a little add-on to what you said, of being American-born. Unfortunately, I wasn't born in America.
That's right. I read that in your bio, in our mutual book. This is also another way how we know each other. We're both contributors to Unexpected Gifts.
Yes, I kind of look at it as far as legacy, if that makes sense. I mean, everything I do at this point in time, post my event of life after death situation happened, was trying to figure out what breadcrumbs am I going to be able to leave behind for the next generation. And when I look back in it, like, I was born in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And my mom, for reasons, decided to leave when I was not even a year old.
Wow.
So, am I American?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But was I born there? No.
Okay.
So this is kind of like going back into the code of copy and paste, right? My mom left, moved to America.
Yeah.
And then I left America and moved to Netherlands. So it's kind of like history repeating itself to a certain extent.
Wow. That'd be fun to interview to find about that. Now what?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Okay. All right. That's for another episode. Yeah. So your story then, you've been here how long now?
Roughly 14 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny when it's like babies.
Yeah, you look at it.
How old is your baby? 36 months. Okay, I'm no longer a parent. How many years is that? Come on.
Well, I would say, how good is your Dutch? Do you speak like a 14-year-old? Like, are you a baby or are you more like a toddler? So I'm definitely 14 months old.
I love it. I mean, my level of Dutch, I am here. We're counting weeks. We're doing weeks still.
Yes.
Okay, so you've been here 14 months. And congratulations, you said you got your DAFT.
Whew, yes.
It's the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty from, I think it was like 1956, a treaty between the U.S. and the Netherlands. which makes it, I'm going to say, relatively easier.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of what we're talking about, right? I mean, it's
Simpler.
Loopholes. It's
loopholes. Yeah.
It's loopholes.
How do you make things work, and sort of where there's a will. You ever hear that joke? Where there's a will, there's a relative.
Or marriage. Yeah.
So you made it happen. And
correct.
So how did that come about? And it wasn't just you woke up one morning, I'm going to move to the Netherlands.
No, I mean, it really started in Spain, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
My wife and I, in the company she was working with, they had a international event because they had just bought a new company, and they had a celebration in Spain where all the European country and the U.S. country and everybody came into one, and we were like, Barcelona is, wow, we got to move to Europe.
Wow.
And kind of being a believer in, if you talk it and you believe it and you start taking action towards it, it'll happen. And then the opportunity kind of fell into our lap to where, hey, you could either move to Sweden, UK, Netherlands, or the other one, which is Estonia.
Okay. Yeah.
Out of those four, Netherlands sounded very appealing, and it still is appealing to this day. So,
okay, you glossed over there, kind of the where there's a will, there's a way thing, or you talk about it, because how many people travel to a place, and when they're there, they say, "Hi, honey, I want to live here. Let's move here," and I was going to say guarantee. I can't guarantee, but it's got to be more than 99% of the people who say that who don't actually do it. Yeah. So what's the difference? See, this is sort of my now what premise here, because I think the now what is, and it's a little bit sorry, not sorry, because my idea is for the decision makers, for the action takers. It's not now what, let's think about it some more. Now what, let's wish upon a star. I want now what, and then the action has been taken. Because a dear friend of mine talks about share from the scar and not from the wound, right? Like it freshly, if you just arrived here, then your now what story would be not quite totally formulated. You're here, but now it's done. You're still here, and you got your DAFT, so you can stay longer.
Correct.
And so, when I say you glossed over, but you said, we wanted to come here, and now we're here. That's a monstrous mountain.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where when I said we had the opportunity, like we dialed in to make the opportunity happen. My wife's company so happened to be a big contributing factor to Europe, and they bought the European aspect. The U.S. company bought the European company. Okay. And then that was like, okay, that's our gateway.
Was that in Spain?
Well, Spain was one of their hubs.
Okay.
But the actual main hub is actually based out of Sweden.
So is that where the Spain, Sweden, Netherlands, Estonia came from?
Correct.
Okay, I was curious about that.
Once we figured out, okay, well now it's Sweden owned, and what's the next steps to kind of get here? So my wife started positioning herself, because I mean originally she was a treasurer, a CPA and accountant before, became a treasurer, and then now with the understanding transactions was her thing. Yeah. So she used to do a lot of micro transactions in the States because the company that she works for does parking. So they're more so transactions based on parking. They don't own the parking meters. They don't own the parking spots. They just do the transactions. And then through the mergers, they started to get these other things, and they needed to go, we have US and we have Europe. We needed someone that at least understands the US market to bring them into Europe. So I was like, okay, that's the skilled migrant route.
Yeah.
So on that visa, skilled migrant visa is what brought us here. The DAFT visa is what's going to then separate us from that and keep us here. Because again, if she decides to leave, if anything goes wrong with that employer, then that visa is void.
Right.
So staying ahead of the curve, the DAFT visa steps into place. And then worst case scenario, I could hire her as an employee under my company, much like what we're doing with our son, and bring him in as a dependent as well. Because that's the other part of this equation. Our son came over here to go to school as well. Yeah. Because he was 18 at the time. He's an adult, so he can't be a dependent. Okay. So finding out all these different nuances and loopholes, again, studying and figuring out the dots, connecting the dots is where we are right now.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna come back to Barcelona again because because I hear it all the time. Because I live in Europe, you live in Europe, and I don't know how many American friends of yours say this, but they come over and I want to live here, and so many say it, but so few do it. And you mentioned loopholes, and you mentioned dots, and dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
A million analogies, right?
A million, and it's still, I'm trying to think of. So the listener, the viewer says like, okay, wait a minute. I missed the part where he says, Barcelona sounds great.
Yep.
Which we all say, because Barcelona is great.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And now you're living here.
Yes.
And it's almost like, wait. Could you rewind? Wait a minute. What happened in the, how, what is the difference then between you're there and you say, this is great, to you're actually here? There's got to be a bigger drive than just.
It's a way of thinking. It's a way of, I would say, look at it from the standpoint of, if you say that I'm going to become a published author, and you say that every single day, and every day you take a little bit of writing or a writing class, or you start going to conventions and you just start putting yourself in that space, eventually, if you stick to that path, you will become a published author. So for us, it was the same thing. We kept on traveling, and every time we would travel, we'd be like, we have to figure it out. And then, I hate to say it, but it sounds like Houdini in a bottle, but we kept on saying it. We kept on staying positive for it. And then once the opportunity presented itself, we was like, okay, now how do we align to this opportunity? It's not Barcelona, but it's Europe. How do we connect these dots and make this happen? So once the opportunity presented itself, then getting my wife in alignment, right? And then she was like, okay, I'm going to get this promotion. This promotion is then going to lead me to then being a requirement to be overseas. So again, I wouldn't say she's a chess player, even though she is, and she doesn't believe it, but I'm a chess player. Yeah. And the combination of both of us, we were just, okay, just dial it in. Okay, we're going to go through you as a channel. We're going to get there. Once we get there, then we're going to leverage me to keep us there. So it was 100% premeditated, if that makes sense. Yeah. But again, it's sticking to that path of, we're going to do it. We have to do it. We need to figure out how to do it. And then once the opportunity presents itself, knowing that the opportunity is there and then seizing the opportunity.
Okay, so this is more than Barcelona is pretty. What was the deeper, what's the word? Desire? Is it dream? Or dream always sounds so fluffy, right?
Yeah, I just look at it from a standpoint of, if you look at humanity as a whole, right? And this is a statement that I think I'm going to die by, right? It's a statement that I say and I live by. If you think about nomads, we wouldn't have been in America or Trinidad or in Europe if none of us were ever nomads to begin with. That's human nature. Yeah. So to be gridlocked or stifled or stuffed into one region of the world, that's, yes, it's capitalism. Yes, it's the biggest country supposedly, but ideally there's a couple hundred other options on that you have to kind of test to see if you like or you not like. You can't just look at National Geographic. You can't just look at a magazine. You can't read about it. You actually have to go. And once you go and experience it, it's just like, America is great, but the world is greater.
Wow. Wow. The whole nomad thing, you kind of took me off guard there, because I think we've had a few conversations today, and you've said these things that just, I really like how you phrase things and make it, you give me this clarity, like this nomad and this idea that people, or humanity, to travel and to experience another place, and in more than the 2-week Hilton holiday.
100%.
And because that's a huge, not many people do what you've done.
But I think if you think about it, everyone from the Netherlands wants to go somewhere else. Everyone from the U.S. It's the native being of wanting to be a nomad and not realizing that's what got you there in the first place, and embracing that. And most people, they don't comprehend the embracing of it. They just feel something, but they don't know what that is. And for us, right away, I was like, well, if I spent 40-something years here, and based upon technology, based upon where we are right now, I could spend another 40-something years alive on this planet. Why the hell would I do it in one location? And we're trying to get to Mars, and I haven't even explored this planet yet. I'm doing myself a disservice. I'm doing my kids, my grandkids a disservice by saying, this is it. I mean, Yes, you can grow up on a farm and you could live in Texas and spend your entire legacy of 4 generations there. But what would that look at scale? And you have to be the first one. And I told my wife, I'm like, you're not the first one to do it. You're just the one to do it in this generation.
Yeah.
You're the aunt or the cousin that lives abroad now. You're part of their storyline and say, yeah, I got a cousin that lives there. And everyone, if you think back in time, oh, I have a cousin that lived in France. Oh, I have a cousin that lived in Asia. We're just in that equation now. We're that factor to be the inspiration for hopefully 2-3 generations down. Somebody will be like, hey, I'm moving there because my aunt did it or my cousin did it or whatever did it before me.
Wow. You remember earlier we had a conversation about that kind of person does this kind of thing. And you are now the kind of people who do this kind of thing. 100%. You are the kind who move to another country.
100%.
And it is no easy task.
It's not designed for everyone. You know, I think that's why you kind of have survival of the fittest, right? It goes into being a nomad. You go back to historically, if you're not willing to put the time in and the effort to learn how to hunt or to at least marry someone that knows how to hunt, then you kind of get X'd out, right? You kind of fade to black. If you don't know how to put clothes on, you don't know how to make shelter, you eventually fade. So for us, it's like, I look at it as a survival technique. It's kind of like teaching not maybe our kids, but maybe their kids or maybe their kids an opportunity to say, well, how did we end up in the Netherlands? Or how did we end up in Europe? And like, again, wait, you saying that my mom was, or my grandmother was American? Well, why am I here? And then that opens up that book to realize that everything is bigger than where you are right now.
Wow. So my mom and dad, they met on it's a very romantic story. They met on a ship going to Germany from the States. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And they did a summer exchange or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm still friends with the family my mom stayed with. And so my mom's ancestors were German, my dad French. We don't know much about my dad's side, but my mom's ancestors say were German, and they came to the States. And on trips growing up as a kid, my mom would read these letters in German, actually, and she would translate them. But in German from, great-great-grandpa, whoever, and they would be talking about, the price, and they moved to Oklahoma, and they'd be talking about the price of corn or something like that, and they'd be writing letters to each other. And for some reason, I just thought about that. I hadn't thought about it the way you're talking about it with the whole aunt this and grandpa did that, and because now you are the ones who moved to the Netherlands.
Well, we're not the first. I mean, like in my bloodline, for example, like my dad's grandfather is from Ireland. So, and as you ask these questions to your family, like, who is he? They barely know his name. He moved from Ireland. He was in the islands, and that's how he met your grandma. And it's just like all these different things. But it's like being a descendant of that. It's part of who we are. So why would I not kind of come back over here and restart that? But now what we do, writing books and podcasting, where we have the breadcrumbs of technology to then, once I'm dead and gone, they can at least hear my thoughts and my processes and why and what and how, and then now leverage that to become who they want to be. Versus I'm still thinking about, what was my grandfather like? What was he like? You don't have to wonder now.
Yeah. Well, you're right, because we had a few letters from grandpa, whoever, great-grandpa, whoever, I don't even know his name. And they literally wrote about like corn prices. Their letters were not all very exciting. It was fun. It was fun. But I really like what you're saying as well about how, like what we're doing right now.
100%.
We're telling our stories about why we did things. And that's very much this whole title of this theme of my project, this whole now what. And my goal is to sort of inspire others to think of their now what moment. Because you've got several that built up to you coming here. And how can we help others? Because I really think that the audience is, the majority of the audience is going to listen to this or watch this, and they're going to say, wow, that's great. That's so great for these guys, and they did this. And like, you know what, that's just not me. Or maybe if they're honest with themselves, or maybe they think like, well, that sounds great, but I'm never going to actually do it. And that's totally fine. Like you said, 4 generations on a Texas farm, that's awesome. I have nothing against that. But I think in marketing, it's marketing guys, as we know, there's your ideal target avatar, your audience who you're really focusing on. I think for me anyway, it's the one who's just hungry to do that thing, to make that change, and maybe just needs a push or a roadmap or a nudge I like to talk about pull to do that thing, to have that now what moment for them. Because we're talking about ours.
Correct.
And how can we inspire others? So if there's people listening who have thoughts of where you were at some point back when it was still just a dream and a thought and a vague idea, how can they become the type of person who does this type of thing?
But to your point, I don't think everyone that may come across this conversation or this content may not be the right person.
Yeah.
But based upon the rules of numbers, they know the right person. That right person is in one of their circles. They could be watching this and kind of flipping through YouTube or whatever channel they're looking at it on, and it may be the 8-year-old kid that's in the background listening right now, without them knowing. And then a few years go by, and this 8-year-old kid becomes a 13-year-old kid, starts talking about, hey, I would like to do traveling abroad for education. Like all of these things are in every single circle. And if you're not the person, I would say if you know the person or if you have a seed of that person, feed into it. Their fears are not your fears. Your hesitation are not their hesitation. So you don't want to hold someone back. And it kind of goes into being fathers that we are, men, right? I would love my kid to be on the farm with me.
Right.
I would love my kid to do what I do. But in reality, who is the actual son that wants to be exactly like their dad?
Right. Yeah.
No matter how great the dad is, you could be The Rock. Yeah. And your kids are gonna be like, I'm never gonna wrestle. It's one of those things. Whatever that person wants to do, feed into it, man. You'll be surprised how much of you would become part of them if you just feed into it. Like a lot of times I say that with my son. He's not into digital marketing, right? He's really big into the market. He's really big into development. And so when I started to see that, I was like, okay, well, he's not going to be the creative mind. He's the analytical mind. Yeah. I'm 50-50. He's 100% analytical. Yeah. I can kind of understand 50% of him. Right. So I'm just going to have to feed into that 50%. If you need help with the code, if you need that's my gift. Let me help you with that. Everything else, the other 50% that I may not be able to understand, that's going to be for you and designed for you to then pass on to the next generation. I can only help you with what I know. And what I don't know, you should be able to find out on your own and build your own legacy. I'm just giving you what I have.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned this 8-year-old kid in the background. I think that's really cool that if you're listening or watching and you think, wow, that's not me, but my nephew,
there's always
John.
Yeah.
He'd love this, and then I'm going to share this with him, because I'm sure we all have inspirational people along the lines, and I bet a lot of it's just sort of in the background or something. It's not
always in the background.
Getting sat down by grandpa saying, "Son, grandson, you're going to move to the Netherlands." I don't think it happens like that.
It doesn't. I mean, if I think about it historically for myself, my dad used to listen to motivational tapes. I don't remember who.
Really?
I don't remember who the hell he was listening to.
That's so cool.
It could have been Les Brown. It could have been people that I know today. Yeah. But as a kid, I didn't know who they were. No. So for me to be on that pace now, where I'm standing on stages and having conversations and helping people learn how to do things, it could have been subliminally back then. And did my dad achieve it? He didn't achieve it, but I'm achieving it now, right? So then that little shift of that secondary information through osmosis or just being in the background, it definitely pans out more than you could think about it. Because again, you're talking about 30 years of time, right? Yeah. And it's difficult for anyone to comprehend that magnitude of cause and effect. Yeah. But I can tell you that I remember some of those elements. Those are the key memories that were mediocre memories at that point in time. Yeah. That I can remember and recall now.
Wow, that's so cool that your dad listened to tapes.
He did. He had the cassettes. And then he had the CDs, and I could always see his mind wanting to be an entrepreneur, but not understanding what an entrepreneur is or what it should be doing. But I can see that strive for it. Was he successful at it? No. But in who I am now, what I'm doing, I've had probably 10 times more success in what he's done, but that's a fragment of who I am to make me who I am now. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything is cause and effect. It's cause and effect.
Wow. You know, I've told you this before, but I'm so visual, and so many things you say, I can just see them. For some reason, I just see your dad listening to tapes, and you there in the background or somewhere else,
sketching in a book or playing with toys. It's, and again, I don't know if I don't have a photographic memory, but I have enough of a memory to be like, my intellectual side is like the connection between the two. It's like, so what would life have been like if that wasn't part of the equation then? And again, it wasn't like I was sitting in the room and he was forcing me to sit there to listen to it. It was just, I'm just in the room and I'm seeing what he's doing and I'm not understanding it because I'm a kid. But when you look back 2020 being hindsight, you're just like, that's part of a factor of who I am right now without even thinking about it.
Wow. I remember my mom saying something like, you can do whatever you want to do. Just put your heart into it and work hard or something like that. And I've never forgotten that. I've always said, my mom said I could do it. Guess I can do it, right? Yeah, well.
Yeah. Why can't you?
I also like your sort of idea of this whole background thing where something's happening and it's not so deliberate or direct.
It's indirect.
There's
so many times that has happened. Like, I remember when I first learned about Dean Martin. And I was going through my Dean Martin phases, listening to it, Big Pizza Pie in the Sky, that's amore. And then sure as hell, not realizing that I was doing it in the car, driving my son back and forth to school. Even last week, I went to the kitchen and my son's playing Dean Martin. And I'm just kind of like, the secondary, it's like secondhand smoke gives you cancer. Secondhand motivation kind of gives you inspiration, if that makes sense.
Wow. All right, so that's for our listeners and viewers. Just play this in the background. Have it going at Thanksgiving dinner. Listening to Bradley and S.A. talking. And you never know who's going to be listening in the background.
You never know.
That's really cool. I like that. I like the whole indirectness of it.
Yeah, because it's not forced.
Yeah.
It's not forced. It's just kind of, as from a kid standpoint, you can kind of see either the passion or the enjoyment. From a parent that you don't want to be like.
Right.
And then sure as hell, by default, you just kind of, because I know my son doesn't want to be like me. But then when I see him listening to Dean Martin, and I'm like, the last time I played that with you, you were like 6, 7 years old. Wow. You're 19 now. Nature versus nurture. I think nurture definitely has a more of a huger effect than we can realize.
You know, it's funny about the kids and I talk about, we both have boys. You have a boy, I have 2 boys. And I often say how they don't listen, but they hear.
100%.
And then there's another one, especially with boys, is that if you have a conversation face to face, that's way too confrontational.
It is.
And so it's better if we sit, ideal is car. You're driving or he's driving and you're side by side. And it's like they say about kids, like what do they say about kids? We're playing together or co-playing, whatever. And so now we are 2 people going forward and we happen to be having a conversation, but there's not that confrontation of the face-to-face, like, son, let me tell you. And it's more just a casual conversation and somehow the blocker isn't up.
Yeah, and I think it's actions too, because we have a daughter as well too, and we're a blended household. And so I've been around her for like the last 8 years of her life, right? So like 12, and now she's, going to be 21. And seeing when she reaches out to me is based upon what she's seen me do. So she reaches out to say, hey, I got a problem with the car, because she see me working on the car. Hey, I'm installing this TV on the wall, because she see me install 5 TVs in our house when we lived in Cobb, right? So it's cause and effect. It's what you do routinely, and then they reap the benefits of it. Her TV was mounted on the wall. She's sitting there in high school and middle school watching the TV on the wall. I never would have thought that while she's a junior in college, she would reach out and say, hey, I need some insight on mounting a TV on the wall. It's that whole indirect, what you do is more achievable than what you're stating or what you're telling them to do.
Yeah. I don't know if this is related, but we lived here and then we wanted to go to Morocco on holiday.
Okay.
And both the boys said, I don't want to go to Morocco. Where's Morocco anyway? Now, like North Africa, why would we go there? That sounds like a stupid place to go. They both didn't want to go. And then we get there and we have a great time. And then, but they didn't admit it. And only later that I remember overhearing my son saying like, "Oh, we went to Morocco. It was the best. It was like the best holiday we ever had. I love Morocco. You got to go to Morocco." We're like, what?
It's always crazy when you hear that second. Again, they don't know that you're listening.
Right.
And so, like for us, it was when we took our parents and our kids to Paris, Netherlands, and London.
Wow.
And our son, he didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And sure as hell, after we come back, I hear him on his phone with his maternal grandparents that telling him about the stories of what he learned and how exciting it was and all. And I was like, you little shit. Like, you give us all this hard time on the back end. And then on the front end, you're like celebrating about how great it was, how grandiose it was, how important it was for you and how you enjoyed it. And you just kind of sit back and be like, they don't want to be us, but they don't understand that who they are is elements of us. And because what we've delivered and given them the opportunities to experience, it's evolving them to become whoever they're going to be. Yeah. But again, they're not going to tell you because you're a parent.
Yeah. You know, so I'm sort of a grammar geek and words and so remember my now what ? And I think this is quite fitting because today, like I didn't know where this conversation was going to go. And I like this whole indirect idea. Because I think this whole like confrontational direct thing maybe doesn't work, right? If I say, you must, dear son, you must travel and be a nomad on the world and move to Italy, son. And it may or may not work, but like what you're saying, what you do and not what you say maybe. And because my wife and I, we travel like crazy and we drag the kids everywhere. Yeah. And like with the Morocco story, then they eventually might love it. But I really like what you're saying about, because I'm thinking of the whole goal of this whole Now What program is how can we be of any assistance, be a guide to you who would like to achieve your next now what, your next phase of your life, or as my tagline says, who will you be next? Who is the version of you that you choose to be, ideally choose to be next? And I like this whole idea of this indirect sort of influence in a way. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about earlier, even with you, it's an indirect influence of you becoming a superhero, right? I mean, you were already a hero. Yeah. Yeah. And without you actually having a confrontational conversation with your future wife about why the hell are you doing this? And we don't do this. Yeah. And then all of a sudden she led the way, you followed, and then look at you now because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's another good example of she did it. She didn't tell me about it. She didn't tell me how I could do it. She just did it. And I said, oh, wow, you just did the thing. Yeah. Yeah. And now I thought, well, I guess I could do the thing too.
100%. And it kind of going into that, like I said earlier, I think she realized that you were scared, and she realized if she did it, then your fear would go away. And again, you can go home and have a conversation with an actor, but I'll put money on it. Like that's the scenario of, oh, yeah, I kind of did it that way. Right. And to your point, like she's not the person in the limelight, but you are now. It was kind of like a seed of tranquility for you to become who you are.
Wow. You know, this is why I like having these now what conversations, because we all think we have an idea, or we've got this is the way it is, or because I think until talking with you today, I think I was thinking of it more of a direct and face-to-face confrontation, not confrontational, so negative, but here's how to do this. Now what? Here's how to do your next phase. Here's the plan. But I like your indirect in the background, sort of hearing it, and that.
But you're already doing it. I mean, your methodology of your workshop, writing the worst book ever. Yeah. That's like indirect way to overcome fear. Yeah. It's like right at the bottom of the barrel, the thing that's in the toilet that just will not flush away, that's just floating right there.
Well, that was a little too visual.
Exactly. But that's you have to face it, right? You have to confront it to move past it. And that's what your workshop does. Anyone that wants to become a writer that's not a writer and they are scared of writing, kind of like I was talking about before, being outrageous, the outrageous night.
Yeah.
You have to face it to be able to be like, wow,
Yeah.
if I can do that, then I can do anything.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And seeing all the other people on stage going completely bonkers and outrageous.
Completely bonkers. Or in your case, writing the worst damn book they could ever possibly think about. And then that book becomes part of their storyline. Like once they become a New York Times top seller or whatever happens down the road, whoever they're becoming, they'll be able to hold up that nasty, disgusting, non-masterpiece of piece of work and be like, it started here.
Yeah.
To become this.
Yeah. Because if they... And this was my challenge. I tried to start with this masterpiece, which I can tell you does not work. Well, it might work for some, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be perfection and awesomeness, and I was just stalling because I was scared that it wouldn't be perfect enough. And that's why after all these years, I have this Worst Book Ever program. Again, I like the way you phrase it. It's nice to just get over that fear.
Well, I mean, you've done a great job. I mean, most people write one book, right? Everyone has one book in them.
Yeah, yeah.
What number are you on?
39.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to the point like 2 books, yeah, cool, 3 books.
Yeah.
But when you get to double digits times 3, it's like you really have to sit and be like not only are you beyond fear, like you went prolific, but now you're at such a level of synergy within yourself that you could write another book tomorrow if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Without thinking twice about it, without hesitation, without fear.
Right.
I mean, it becomes part of who you are.
Yeah. And I think that's an excellent reasoning to become the guide to help the others who haven't written their book number 1. And hey, by the way, let's you know what? I know you want to do your masterpiece. Let's do that second. We're going to do a fun little exercise first. We're going to write your worst book first. What? Sounds like a waste of time. I would get all this pushback. That's a total waste. Why would I spend all this time and money and effort on this thing I'm going to throw in the garbage? I'm like,
well, every first book is garbage. Even if you think it's not, it is completely garbage.
Let's consciously make it garbage, and then we'll just.
I mean, I think about my first book, and it was like, I'm almost embarrassed. Like I had to take it off the shelves. It was so embarrassing, right? But again, at the time, it's like, it's great. No, the hell it's not. You have to go through a rite of passage. You have to wade through the water. I mean, literally, if you want to go back to this, you have to wade through the water. You have to really dig deep and get through all of that to get to a book that's like, wow.
Yeah.
And it may take 10 books. It may take 3 books. It may take 60 books.
Yeah.
But you'll know when you're holding like your masterpiece in your hand. And I mean, I'm not at my masterpiece yet. Like I still have time.
Yeah, me either.
To figure out and to put like. I didn't learn storytelling until 7 years ago.
Wow.
And that was more so I had to go through a rite of death passage. I had to face death in the face to figure out how do literally.
Yeah.
But if that never happened, would I be as a good storyteller as I am today if that didn't happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause and effect.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to wrap this up with some advice for an 8-year-old.
Wow.
Listening in the background. Or if you're not 8, maybe you're 18, maybe you're 28, maybe 38, 48, 58, 68. It doesn't matter. In fact, it might not even end in 8. But if you're listening in the background here and you're inspired by what we're talking about here, what, for you, S.A., what advice might you have for someone there listening in the background who's sort of quietly or maybe not so quietly thinking, you know, I'm ready for that next change in my life. I'm ready for the next chapter of my life. How do I, because it's often, how do I get out of the rut of where I currently am?
Yeah. I think it's part of that. And it's also kind of getting into vibrations. You know, I'm not going to get into like anything that may seem mythological here, but you and I, we vibrate on the same vibration, right? Like we communicate, we have completely different backgrounds, completely different upbringing. But once we met each other, we was like, like the magnetism was there.
Yeah,
find those people. Find those people. It may not be in your house. It may not be your parents, but find those people. And hopefully those people are leading magnetism into positive, because there's negative magnetism as well, right?
Yeah.
But find those people that you are in the same wavelength, that challenge you, that push you, someone that you can look up to and they can look up to you, and you can kind of have this push and pull. The faster you find those people in your inner circle, the bigger you could explode in the long run.
Wow.
And I would say, do that now. Whether if you're 5 years old and you're like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
But if you're with little Johnny in school and you and little Johnny are the oddballs.
Yeah.
And you and little Johnny feed off each other and you're getting some kind of results, whether it's drawing, whether it's writing, whether it's football, baseball, whatever that synergy of that vibration is, hold on to that person.
Yeah.
And feed off of that and also deliver value back to that person as much as you can as well.
Wow. SA, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was mine.
And fantastic. And I learned every conversation we have, I learned something. So I'm thrilled to have met you. I'm glad you're here in the Netherlands. And I'm looking forward to what's next for both of us too.
100%. And I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate you not only being here, but accepting me into your circle, considering that we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like that hidden vibration that
I like it. I like what you're saying.
It just worked.
Yeah, I like your advice there for the 8-year-old. Or the 18 or 28 or 38, 48, 58, 68, 78.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta go against the grain. I mean, it's your parents may not understand.
Yeah.
Your best friend may not understand.
Yeah.
But there's someone out there, out of these 8 billion people.
Yeah.
Numbers being in your favor, there's somebody that understands you.
Yeah.
And they may be a little bit ahead of you, a little bit on that race to where they're a couple steps ahead of you. And you're just like, yeah, I need to be around that person more often.
Yeah. I love it. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure was mine.